This is a 190 Q&A practice test. Plaintiff attorney, Mr. West, capital W-E-S-T. Defense attorney, Mr. Sanders, capital S-A-N-D-E-R-S. Excuse me. We will start with plaintiff attorney. Ready? You mentioned it was a little unclear. You mentioned 4 times that he had been there. Then you mentioned 5, counting starting with June and going up through October 31st. That was actually 6 times that he had used your business. Isn't that right? October 31st would have been her 5th visit to his property. Well, do you have those exhibits still up there in front of you? Photos, exhibit 11 you said was a June 20th shot. Do you see that? I have to find 11. Yes, that was June. Exhibit 12 was August 22nd. Yes. Exhibit 13 was August 29th. Okay. Exhibit 14 and 15 were from the 19th. I'm sorry, September 19th. Is that right? Yes. And then the last one you have up there is October 10th of 05. That's exhibit 16. Okay, so that's 5 that you have up there, right? 5 through, yes. So the 31st of October would have been the 6th visit. Okay, and your records have Mr. Avery's address, correct? Your office records, yes. As an account, an open account that you have, right? Yes, it had his phone number, right? Yes. And in fact, you had more than one phone number associated with that particular account, correct? I do believe so, yes. Now the name Janda, J-A-N-D-A, that also was a name that was used on a prior visit to Teresa to the Avery salvage property, was it not? I'm not sure. I'm going to show you Exhibit 19. See if you can identify that. Exhibit 19, okay. It's another one of her facts, reports, appointment sheets. Yes, okay. If you look at the very first name on the first list there, say it again, Tom Janda, J-A-N-D-A, right? Yes. Can everybody see that? The first name here and the right next to that name is a phone number, right? Yes. And an address, 12930A Avery Road, correct? Yes. And that's the very same address and phone number that was given by Mr. Avery when he called in your office on October 31st, right? Yes. And so your office knew that this Janda was associated with the Avery salvage property. I'm not sure if Don had recognized that at all. The phone numbers are different, so that's why another account was created under B. Janda. But the very name of the road is Avery, correct? Correct. So that's a little bit of a hint that it's associated with Mr. Avery, right? Sure. Okay, this one, by the way, is, maybe you could unzoom it. This is the appointment, I believe, for September 19th. And if you could just read the bottom of that note, push it up a bit, Dean. It says 9/19 at the top. She says, I also did one hustle shot. It's the first one on the disc, but I forgot to send the sheet with the info. Is that right? Yes. Okay. Now when Mr. Fassbender, investigator Fassbender from the DCI met with you, he had you go through a number of the records that you had on Mr. Avery's involvement and Teresa Halbach's entire photo shoot history, correct? Yes. And you actually printed out a list of all of these, or copies of each one of these forms that, like Exhibit 18 and 19 that we're referring to here today, right? Yes. Anything that we had on our files, yes. Any of these that Teresa had done, you printed out, yes. And you looked through them when you talked with him, right? We didn't look through everything. Okay, well, would it be fair to say that from your review of the records, it was clear to you that Teresa did have a history of these hustle shots, of using these hustle shots for some extra income? Sure, yes. And maybe you will need to take a moment to look at these, but I believe in the last 16 or 17 days that Teresa did any of these shoots of any kind. She did 12 hustle shots. Does that ring a bell? I would have to look. All right, mark this whole stack of reports, but if you could just take a moment, just ignore my post-its, but count through how many days of shoots that is. It's starting with September 19th of 2005, and then count up how many actual hustle shots she reports. Okay, count the days first. All right, 15 days, okay. Count up how many hustle shots she did during that 15-day period. Okay, it appears 5. Let's look at this again, please. There's one there, right? Okay, but listed here, this does not tell me that there's a hustle on this sheet. That's right, so I did not count that. Well, she puts down that she did a hustle, right, when these sheets would come back, if she would mark down that there's a hustle shot on here before payroll. After they hand in their papers, I would go through the sheet, and if I wouldn't see a hustle on here, I would have to call them, right, and say, on this date you have a hustle. I don't see anything for a hustle, you know, unless they would specify. That's how they would be paid for the hustle. But she wouldn't, on these forms that she faxes back to you, she doesn't always put the names of the hustles. That comes in later, right? But here she's just telling you that she did do another hustle. It's just not reflected on these records, right? Yes. So she says she did one hustle on this form, right? Right. Okay. And this one she does a hustle. Okay, so that's 2. Judge, could I ask that the relevance of this is, I will get to that, about this homicide. If she did 9 or 11 or 13 hustle shots, I will get to that. I will give him a little latitude. So there's 3. You saw that one there, right? Yes. So there's 8 on that one, right? That's 11. Another one there, that's 12. Do you agree? Yes. If you count that, what she wrote up on top. I couldn't hear the witness's response. If you count what she wrote up top. So what Teresa told you on these forms is that she did 12 hustles in these 15 days, correct? And again, you wouldn't know about those hustles that she did in advance, correct? Correct. And so on October 31st of 2005, if Teresa Hallback had done a hustle shot, you would not have known it in advance, would you? No. So if Teresa Hallback, after 3:34, whatever, later in the day on October 31st, went to do one of these hustle shots, you wouldn't know it, correct? Because you never got a completed fax like this back after October 31st, correct? Or anything in the mail with the information from that hustle shot, correct? Correct. So the bottom line is, from your records, you don't know and cannot tell this jury whether or not Teresa Hallback left Mr. Avery's property on October 31st and went somewhere else to do a hustle shot. Isn't that right? That's correct. Thank you. One follow-up question, Ms. Schuster. The real bottom line is, if Ms. Hallback was killed by Mr. Avery, she couldn't have done any hustle shots after that, could she? That would be correct. That's all. All right, the witness is excused. Members of the jury will take our morning break at this time. The attorneys, I believe, have something to take up outside the presence of the jury, so I can't tell you exactly when you will be coming back, but as soon as we're ready, we'll call you back. Judge, I would move Exhibit 18 and 19 in. Any objection? No. Those are admitted. When would you like us back, Judge? Let's report back at 25 to 11. That's fine. Thank you. Mr. West, do I understand that the state wishes to address a matter outside the presence of the jury before the next witness? I do, Judge. We do have Don Pliska, who is our next witness. The court had previously ruled on an admissibility issue. I believe the court contemplated a very brief offer of proof that would require some brief testimony. I'm prepared to call Ms. Pliska, and I think it probably best we excuse Ms. Pliska from the courtroom so that counsel can argue admissibility on that one. Does the defense agree? Sure. Okay, very well. You may call your next witness. Don Pliska, please be seated. Please state your name and spell your last name for the record. Don Pliska, P-L-I-S-Z-K-A. Ms. Pliska, this is not your testimony before the court, but this is, before the jury, but this is getting some information about a conversation you had with Teresa. Do you understand that? Yes. All right, the word list. We have Mr. Avery, capital A-V-E-R-Y. Avery Salvage, capital A-V-E-R-Y. New word, capital S-A-L-V-A-G-E. Tom, capital T-O-M. Avery Road, capital A-V-E-R-Y. New word, capital R-O-A-D. B. Janda is capital B period. New word, capital J-A-N-D-A. Dean, capital D-E-A-N. Investigator Fassbender, capital I on investigator. Fassbender is capital F-A-S-S-B-E-N-D-E-R. DCI, all caps, no periods, no spaces. Teresa Hallback, capital TERESA, Hallback, capital HALBACH. Ms. Schuster, capital SCHUSTER. And that was Ms. MS period. And that's it for the word list, and that will conclude our 190 Q&A practice test.